You're listening to a Bored to Death Herocast, talking superhero anime and other hero fare in easily digestible chunks. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted Jurassic nations. Welcome to what I think we're going to be calling the Bored to Death Herocast.
Sure.
This will be the umbrella under which we cover animes and similar that deal with like superheroes. Beginning with, the new season 5 of My Hero Academia, at least as episodes are released in English.
Since we've already watched literally 4 full seasons, 2 movies, and an OVA.
And a 2-part OVA in English, yeah. We've covered our feelings on dubs versus subs before. You generally prefer dubs if you're watching it at least on a big screen.
At least
like
it's
we are.
good.
Yeah.
As long as the dub's good and it doesn't take me out of the show.
Right. I personally don't care either way, but at this point I've been watching everything in English, so I'm kind of invested in that.
God forbid you want to see it in your native language.
I mean, I don't mind watching stuff subbed. I'm pretty good at being able to follow.
I understand some things just don't get dubbed.
Yeah,
I get that.
So other things that we will be covering in Herocast will be One Punch Man, which we'll be doing a binge for shortly after we're done recording this one. This one is for episode 89, the first episode of season 5. What I think is more technically episode 0, from what I understand.
I mean, it's similar to most.
No. Stop.
Similar to
Cat.
most, like,
Stop it.
start. He's supposed to be a part. He wants to be
but he's scratching on the leather.
Yeah, I don't know why he's leather scratchy boy.
Anyway, episode 89 is more like episode 0 of season 5.
Somewhat,
because you have already watched it. I should just say that.
Hello, I'm standing on my chest.
Yeah, so he's got a big binge cat now, just sitting on him, on his chest directly.
Okay. All right.
This translates very well to an audio podcast. But from what you've basically explained, this is sort of a recap episode. Sort of, here's all the characters in case you didn't know who they were. Because it's been like a year or so since the end of season 4, and if you've been watching other series and you're not necessarily reading the manga to keep up on what's going on, you might need a bit of a refresh on who everyone is, what their quirk is, etc.
Yeah, it's more of like similar to the OVA. It feels like almost a continuation of the OVA, being it's more training, obviously.
Yeah,
that's what they're at school for.
Yeah, the summary here says there's an emergency drill at UA High School, and Class 1A is requested to report for duty. And the thumbnail shows Deku in his hero outfit, getting ready to unleash a punch or something. So
you're gonna get that villain.
If there's a villain, could just be I gotta smash something out of the way. There are 2 other episodes already for season 5, but they have not yet been released in English. So we'll get to those when we can.
Hopefully, it's either going to be Friday or Saturday.
Hopefully so. So we can do the My Hero part of the Herocast more frequently. But so season 4 ended. Trying to remember everything that was going on.
The very end of it was
Gentle Criminal. That's right.
No, the very end of it. Endeavor.
Oh, that's right. Endeavor fighting off that Endeavor and Hawks fighting off that high-end Nomu. That's right.
It's been a few weeks. You've already forgot what they're called.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just I have so many other things going on in my head with everything that we're doing for the Bingecast these days. I can't always keep track of it, which is one reason I have a notebook to keep track of this stuff. I just hadn't had a chance to open it up and read it. And we also ended season 4 with Deku having a dream where he saw some of the previous One for All bearers.
Oh yeah, that's gonna come up again.
and it established that Deku is like the 9th person to carry the torch of One for All.
Damn.
Yeah, so we'll presumably get more about him, about all that at some point this season. I doubt in episode 0. But I don't think there's really anything else we need to add at this point. I have like no real major expectations. I know that there are some that they will be introducing more characters over time, because that's just what they do. The Bingecat is just really getting comfortable. Bingecast giving me this look like, stop talking. I'm trying to nap.
Oh, he was napping on my damn chest. So I keep my chest in.
So yeah, I think we'll go ahead we'll go ahead and pause this here. I'll be back after the binge. Sam will be back if his chest doesn't cave in completely from the weight of the Bingecat.
Oh God.
Hello, and thanks for listening. While we're binging, please give us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio family, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, The A Show, Park Hopper 101, and The Nerd Table. Please consider supporting CKCC Radio on Patreon so we can continue to bring you podcast content. And now, the binge is done, so let's get to the discussion.
And we're back. So, yeah, very much
I survived.
Yeah, the Bingecat did finally get up and just wandered about for a bit. Now is in his lap rather than on his chest. So
yeah, he took a sabbatical during the episode. So,
but the episode, like you said, was sort of filler. There wasn't really any major developments until the very end at the Stinger. We'll get to that, but it was basically they did a recap of how last season ended with Endeavor fighting the Nomu, managing to just barely beat it, taking himself to the limit.
Yeah.
In doing so, and then afterwards, he stands there, slumped somewhat, but raising his fist in the air like, I'm still here. Which, at the time, we all noticed very much like All Might did after, was it the fight with All For One?
Mm-hmm. His last fight.
Yep, and but Class 1A is basically just talking about the fight, and this is like happening the next day. Shoto shows up, and they're like, "Is he all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's not in too bad a shape." And they're like, "You must be proud of your of your dad." And I forget who said that, but it was like,
I think it was a Mineta.
Mineta, yeah. And as soon as he said that, you could see Deku's just like,
It's like, I know the whole relationship with this stuff. It's a little touchy subject.
Yeah, but Shoto, just sort of like is silent for a moment. He's like, yeah. But you pointed out that they framed it in a way that you only saw the white hair side of his face.
Where normally he would have, when we first met him,
would have been like,
would have disacknowledged the shit out of him.
Would have been like, don't talk to me about my father. But now he's like, they have a very complicated relationship. The whole family does.
Oh yeah.
And it's like they all do care about their dad, but they're like, we don't necessarily like him that much. We saw a lot of it
amongst his oldest siblings.
Yeah. Especially when they found out that their father had actually been paying a visit to their mother in the hospital or the sanitarium, wherever she was.
And then seeing him on the news in the cab ride back.
Yep. And they sort of touched on the fact that Shoto and Bakugo still don't have their provisional hero licenses. They're still doing their supplemental courses to catch up to the rest of the class. But before anything could really get started, they had an emergency drill. It's like stand-in villains sort of thing. Simulated villains have invaded. Will Class 1A please report as heroes, suit up and report to Training Ground Beta or whatever. And that's when we got, a glimpse at everybody in Class 1A, basic touch on who they are, their hero names, if they have any, and what their quirks are, with everybody splitting into different teams. They had a reconnaissance team with
Jiro and
with Jiro, Tentacle, and Anima.
Yeah.
Kota, that's right.
Kota.
And then they had some of the rescue squad splitting up to put out fires.
Which would be.
Well, they had Ida.
Froppy.
They had Froppy.
They're the
Mineta.
rescue squad. The other two were the emergency response.
Yeah, but they had Yorozu and Uravity, and some of them sort of hung back. She was one of the ones that hung back. But it was like Ingenium raced out there along with Shoto, so he could use his ice powers to help put out the fire. And then they were like, "Oh, somebody's fallen in the river."
The good thing, another good thing about this is they showcase the characters that all of them had a purpose there.
Yeah,
not a single one of them was just kind of standing there.
Yeah, it's like once they'd split off those first two teams. Yeah, like people like Deku and Uravity and Sero, and them sort of hanging back, but moving in more on foot while the rest raced ahead with Ingenium taking them in a cart, basically. But then you had Red Riot and Charge Volt and Bakugo sort of hanging back, as Bakugo's like, let the extras deal with that stuff. Let's go look for villains. And the person who fell in the river was Mirio, Lemillion, just with a smile on his face, just like completely planking in the water. It's like, jokes. Oh God, here I am. I hope I don't die.
Just float and he's the best.
And
he's like one of
and then eventually the villains showed up, and it was Hato and Sun Eater, the other two members of the Big Three. And poor Sun Eater, doesn't like really being the center of attention. It's just sort of like he has trouble getting into the villain mindset.
Well, I liked what he said when he first got there. He goes, "Oh, we have to deal with her and me. Oh gosh, there's a lot of them.
Just pretend they're all
potatoes. All right, yeah, no heroes here, just potatoes.
Just a whole bunch
of lots of starches. Okay, I'm gonna go home then."
Yeah. Because it's just sort of like that, starches aren't going to help his powers out very much.
I mean, also, starches don't pose a threat.
Yeah. But, and so then everybody else got a chance to, intervene and show off their powers to restrain Hato and Sun Eater. I liked that they showed that Invisible Girl, can, refract light, and the Bingecat is now apparently looking to try to crawl into my lap, but it's not very easy because I have stuff in my lap and everything. But that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop him. Okay.
I don't know if you know how cats operate.
I haven't had cats in like 30 years. So yeah, I'm showing my age by saying that. I had forgotten that Invisible Girl can refract light.
That was one of the moves she was
sort of shine it outward instead of just letting it pass through her, kind of thing. And eventually, Bakugo showed up and helped take down Sun Eater, pinned him down, and then after the drill had concluded, Bakugo's like, "Fight me, damn it!
Fight me, nerd."
You were holding back, and he's like, "No, I was just terrified of your face," and then just boom, giant explosion with a skull smoke, and then you just hear Eraserhead just be like, "Tell Bakugo to come to the teacher's lounge."
No, he was telling a robot to apprehend him.
Yeah, basically, it's just sort of like because he went too far, and it was after the drill was over.
There's a reason why you're in the remedial class.
Mm-hmm. And then we had the Stinger, where we saw Endeavor laid up in hospital, bandages all over, including over his eye, and he's remembering what happened immediately after he did his little hero pose after beating the Nomu. And he was on the verge of collapsing when Hawks got there to help him sit down rather than just full on collapse.
Slump over.
And but as they're as Hawks is talking to him, suddenly through the smoke, up walks Dabi. It's like, let me introduce myself.
This is the first time we're meeting, isn't it, Endeavor?
Yeah, and the way he said it with that smile, tells you it's not. But then
I'm still sticking hard to what I've said.
The theory that he is one of Endeavor's other children,
like one of his oldest,
from a previous marriage, perhaps, because he doesn't have the white hair or the red hair or the mix of both that his other children have.
He could dye his hair.
This is true, but as Endeavor wakes up from that. Then we suddenly cut to somewhere else, like in a warehouse somewhere, and Dabi is sitting there just sort of like, you're late for our meeting, and then it shows Hawks walking in. Now, that could seem pretty sinister, but the episode preview for next episode shows Hawks with one of his feather swords at his neck, which suggests, no, it's not a very friendly meeting, but what exactly is going on, we don't know.
Well, he was trying to track down information about the Nomu.
That's true. And the League of Villains.
Yep.
Because, Hawks recognizes we have to deal with the League of Villains because they have way too much at their disposal with Nomu, and they have the quirk erasing bullets and the regenerative serum. So there's a lot going on there. And of course we know that the League of Villains has other people in it as well, like the Doctor. The Doctor who was overseeing All for One's treatment and has been overseeing some of the Nomu creation. And of course we both suspect that All for One is orchestrating things from prison somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he has like few visitors and he's like kept, locked up with guns and everything trained on him at
I
all
hate this
times.
thought. Maybe that's just a fucking shell. And he's controlling it like a puppet. We have seen puppet-type characters
This
before.
is true. With twice his slime duplicates. I doubt this is a slime duplicate because...
Oh, no, with the amount of power it had? No.
Yeah. But, yeah, there's...
It could have been switched out.
It could have been.
With all the teleportation powers he has.
Well, and all the other powers that we don't know, because it was clear he was collecting powers for quite a while. He was just barely... I think he was just barely scratching the surface of what he could do. And his fighting All Might to a standstill like that was... And then getting defeated was all part of his plan to bring down the Hero Society.
To make him think that he's under wraps, that he's
not
a threat.
Not just that, it was to expose All Might's weakness. It's the whole, if you could make God bleed, people will stop believing in him. If he just took out the symbol of peace by he got caught, but everybody now knows All Might can't do hero work anymore. He took the symbol of peace away, and it almost instantly caused problems. Because it left a power vacuum going on. You had all these other forces rushing to try to fill the void left by All for One and on the criminal side, and now you have all this unrest. It's like, what if All Might's not there anymore? There's nothing to really stop us from doing crime. Never mind you have all these other heroes out there. So it's he's the chess master type that Zeke has said that he loves the chess master types of villains, who are good at manipulating things. As we saw with Zemo in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But definitely wondering where things are going with this. Dabi apparently getting some focus, which is good, because he hadn't gotten much focus last season or the season before, really.
The most he had was the forest.
The summer camp arc, yeah. And we're also apparently going to start seeing some more of this One for All stuff with Deku next episode, because that was in the preview as well, that something's happening with his body, and we saw some of the other torchbearers, including All For One's brother, there at the end, because I think they did specify that's how All For One One For All got started, when All For One passed the power stockpiling quirk onto his brother. And apparently we have some helicopters going by.
That was awfully low.
Yeah.
We're in the basement. It sounded like it was cutting grass outside our window.
Can't be the landscapers, because they did that yesterday. So, but yeah, interesting start to the season. Not really a whole lot happening plot wise yet, but
just getting
laying the seeds for it and catching up on who everybody in 1A is. But from what we've seen, what we saw in the opening, the new opening for the season, or at least the first half of the season, what looks like 1B might get a little bit of focus, but Shinzo from 1C, the brainwashing guy, he got a lot of focus in there. And you pointed out that he was wearing Eraserhead's scarf.
Or something similar to his scarf. And towards the end of the opening, he throws it similar to
Aizawa at Deku. I'm wondering what that means, if there's still some of that resentment smoldering in him, and that he flirts a little bit with the dark side, or if this is just another case of they need somebody to simulate being a villain, and
that's training.
Yeah,
because he's still wearing the UA uniform.
This is true. It could just be that he hasn't, because he's in support and not in like hero class.
He's in hero class. He's just not in 1A.
No, but he's in 1C. 1C is support.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure 1A and 1B are the hero courses, and 1C and I think probably 1D are like support. Not necessarily like and like the gadget track or the business track. And Sam is now looking it up, so he can.
That's all right. We'll worry about it later.
Yeah, but he's not in the hero. He's not in the hero course. So, that could be why he doesn't have a proper uniform.
Well, I mean,
neither does Shoto. Yeah,
and Shoto doesn't have a hero name. It's Shoto.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In his case, it's just Shoto, and as opposed to Bakugo, whose hero name is undecided. But none of the hero names that we saw can possibly match. What's the French kid's name now? I forgot it now.
Can't Stop Twinkling.
Yeah, well, no. I was trying to remember what his civilian name is, not like, but his hero name is like Can't Stop Twinkling. The twinkling never stops.
Full hero name.
And the thing is, as we're watching this, all of the captions and everything are still just in Japanese. They don't yet have translations dubbed in over some of that stuff. But in the case of Can't Stop Twinkling, that part at least, Can't Stop Twinkling, was in all caps in English. But then the part, like the twinkling never stops, is like bracketed by tildes on either side and was still in Japanese. I just find that hilarious. But yeah, good opening. Good way to catch up everybody on Class 1A, since
that's Hero Course still.
It is still Hero Course 1C?
This is the Hero Course Class 1C.
Okay. I could have sworn they said it wasn't like a standard one. Like, maybe that's the one where it's like you weren't quite good enough to make it into the top 2 classes, sort of thing. I got a definite sense that 1C was seen as like sidekick level.
No, that's General Studies, sorry.
Oh, it is General Studies.
So if
1C?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was right. It wasn't support, but it was definitely not hero course.
I don't know why this read weird. That's why I thought it was hero course right away.
But yeah, good catch up episode. Very curious to see where they're going with Dabi. Based on the thumbnail that's already up for the next episode, it looks like he is going to get going to get more focus because it's an action shot of him with his blue flames. So, but I don't think I have anything else really to add to this because it's we just have the one episode right now. There's not really a whole lot theme wise to discuss.
What more are you looking for happening soon?
Well, I'm always curious to see where they're going with the League of Villains, but I know that there are other factions and such out there that are going to probably start making waves and making moves. So I'm curious to see where we're going with that, and if we're going to get more development on Shigaraki's background. Because I know that I glimpsed some stuff in the manga, only like when I was like at Barnes & Noble recently, just picked it up, just sort of flipped through it and saw that there was some focus chapters on Shigaraki and his background. So I don't know if that'll be this season though, because it was fairly recent English translation stuff. So that could be late season 5. It could be like not even this season for all I know. But yeah, so what are you looking forward to this season?
Continuation of the story.
Yeah, that's I think what we're both kind of looking for here. But I think that'll about wrap it up for this edition of the Herocast, first episode of the Herocast. We'll be back very shortly. We'll be recording another one, probably releasing this one on the same day, but we'll be starting One Punch Man. Now, I have watched I did watch a few episodes of the first season and then just never really continued, so this is a chance to sit down and actually watch it the rest of the way. So, but that's going to be on our next Herocast. So for Sam, I am Jay, and we'll see you next time. Plus Ultra! Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast. Be sure to check out our library of past podcasts via CKCC Radio or via our YouTube channel, and give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you after our next binge.